Today, I'm going to talk about 15 things that poor people do that the rich don't, according to Alux.com. And we're going to get started right now. Hi, I'm Amanda Vandergulik from CleverdoughKids.com. And if you would like to know the 15 things that poor people do that rich people don't, then stick around. We're going to talk about that today. If you're a parent who thinks that teaching financial education to our kids is important and you'd like to know more about how to be an entrepreneur yourself and how to be clever with your own money, then make sure you click subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss anything, and you'll be notified as soon as my next video comes out to help you do just that. So earlier this morning, I was watching this video that I found on YouTube from Alux.com on the 15 things poor people do that rich people don't. And so it got me interested, and I thought I want to watch this and see what they came up with. Some of them were absolutely spot on, and others were totally off. So let me go through them with you today. So one of the things that intrigued me most about Alux.com is that their byline is that it's the place billionaires go to get inspired. And, well, who doesn't want to be a billionaire? So that caught my attention. And then when I thought, 15 things that poor people do that rich people don't, well, I wanted to know what they are. So let's dive in. The first thing that poor people do that rich people don't is number 1. Poor people watch a lot of TV. All right, I agree with this one. If you're sitting around watching TV all the time, well, then you simply won't have the time to build the businesses you need to build in order to not be poor. That one kind of makes sense to me. So I'm okay with that one. But there are some other ones that are interesting. I'll leave a link to the Alux.com video in the description below so that you can check it out as well and see what your thoughts are on it. And then come back and comment. Leave me a comment on the different 15 things that poor people do that rich people don't, so that we can have a discussion and see which ones do you agree with and which ones do you think they have totally wrong. One thing that they do mention about the watching TV thing is that poor people watch the TV. Rich people want to be on the TV that's being watched. They make a valid point on that one. And they also mention how poor people watch the news. Rich people don't. It's not that rich people are not aware of the news. It's just that it doesn't take all of our time to watch the news and to filter their brains with all this negative information that is sent out on the news because it's sensational. News is only half truth. It's only the sensational part that gets published and broadcasted. It doesn't mean that the whole world is going to hell in a handbasket. Anyway, so I do agree with number 1. Watching TV is something that poor people do that rich people don't. Now, it doesn't mean they don't watch TV once in a while, but as a full-time occupation. All right, on to number 2. So the second thing that Alux.com say that poor people do that rich people don't is eat fast food. And I can see how this is valid, because first of all, you're wasting a ton of money on fast food. It's way more expensive than just buying the basic groceries you need to take care of your life and live healthy. The main point that they point out is that eating fast food all the time is not healthy, and therefore actually diminishes your ability to have success, because, well, think about it. You're putting a whole bunch of junk into your body. You're not going to have the energy and the health required to actually get stuff done, right? So yeah, okay, I agree with number 2 for the things that poor people do that rich people don't. They eat fast food. Yeah, okay, I get that one. All right, so it's number 3 that first got me and made me think, okay, hang on a second. I don't like this. Because what Alux.com is saying is that the thing that poor people do that rich people don't do is that poor people buy clothes on sale and rich people don't. That doesn't make sense to me. I understand the concept of if you were in a professional field and you wanted to get rich through the professional field, and if you're wearing older clothes that other people don't want, perhaps that has some sort of impact. But if you're thinking about like the millionaire next door, the best way is to find ways to increase your own income and at the same time be frugal and be smart with your money. Don't waste money. Why pay 100% full price on a piece of clothing that you're only going to wear a couple of times, especially if you're doing it for the sake of being successful? If you're constantly seen in the same clothes all the time, that then gives an idea that you're not successful. So it makes much more sense to me to go to a thrift shop and there are some amazing thrift shops where you can get almost brand new clothes for ridiculously low prices. You're helping the planet by recycling, and you're getting so much more for your value of money, and you don't have to spend nearly as much. So I do not agree with number 3, Alux.com. I am sorry, but I do not agree with that one. All right, so for number 4, they're saying that rich people wake up earlier in their lives than poor people do, which is an interesting concept and one that I really don't know much about. All I know is that I have a ton of friends who are incredibly successful who are late sleepers, and I have a ton of friends who are incredibly successful who are early risers. And so I'd have to do a bit more research to see how was it when they were a child. I can understand the concept of it. Wake up fresh and alert, have more time to get things done. But on the other hand, there are genuine people who just really get their motors running later in the afternoon through the evening. So I'm not 100% sure about that one. So of the things that poor people do that rich people don't, number 5 is apparently that poor people are really into sports. And I can kind of see why they're saying this, because the rich people own the sports teams, but it's the poor people who are watching the sports teams. Although, I don't know about you, but a lot of rich people really enjoy watching sports too. I think what they're trying to say with this one is that if you're in a poor mentality, your majority of time is focused on the scores and watching every game, and not spending the time necessary to build up your wealth. See, when you're rich and you're spending the time to build up your wealth, then you pick and choose, and maybe you buy the tickets to the playoff games instead of worrying about the steps along the way. Potentially. What are your thoughts? Leave me a comment below and let me know. All right, okay, number 6 is going to blow you away. Just the thought that I've even considered this. Apparently, poor people don't shower as often as rich people do. Well, that's an interesting concept, because the majority of people that I know who are poor, who are going day by day, working hard for someone else, building someone else's dream, are really, really focused on having that shower every single day. And I know a ton of successful entrepreneurs who are not that worried about it. And so that's an interesting concept. I know for myself, as a lung patient, I have to pick the days when I have the energy to shower, which is not always handy, but that's just what it is. So that's an interesting one. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. All right, I totally agree with number 7. Poor people blame others for their misfortunes. Look, the reality is life is simply going to happen. You need to take responsibility for it. And if you want to keep a poor mentality, then keep on blaming everybody else. Because honestly, you cannot have success until you take responsibility and you start doing your own actions. So I do agree with Alux.com. Well done on that one. And number 8 is that poor people have no money saved. Now that I do agree with. And it's not just a matter of life circumstances, because life does throw you curveballs, but you have to get into the habit of saving. And you have to get into the habit of saving for a specific thing and for letting that money sit there and do its work for you. That's the whole point, is learning how to get money to work hard for you so that you don't have to spend the rest of your life working hard for money. Good job, Alux.com. So number 9, they say that poor people use credit cards or take out loans for useless things. I have to agree with that one. Now, the thing is, when you're taking out a loan or a credit card debt on something that you want right now, but is not really something that you would probably want in a couple of weeks from now, a couple of years from now, you are buying before you have the money for it, and then you're going to get into the situation of having to pay amazing amounts of interest. Wouldn't it be so much better to be earning that interest rather than paying for it? You know, that $100 special suit that you buy for yourself. could end up costing you a couple $100s worth if you don't pay it off right away. Now, the thing is if you have the money available and you want to use the credit card, because perhaps you earn points on your credit card, for example, but you have the money for that suit or that dress, then go ahead, use the credit card, buy the dress, then go home and move the money over from your bank account onto your credit card, so you're paying it off before interest hits. Okay, that is the key to that one. So yes, I do agree with that one. You know what? Save up first and then buy. Absolutely, especially if it's just a whim item, okay? And honestly, an extra tip that I would give you is, if you really want something in the moment, pause and see if you can wait 24 hours. And if you still want it, then have a look at what your options are. Now, Alux.com are also saying that number 10 is that poor people tend to have kids earlier in life. That's an interesting, perspective to see. I mean, it may be correct. I have no idea. My take on it is that having children earlier in life doesn't mean you can't be rich. It just means that you're going to have a few extra expenses to take care of earlier on, rather than getting yourself to a financial position first, where having children is a lot easier financially to do. So I can see how perhaps it makes sense, but it doesn't mean that you have to not have kids young. It just means be aware, be prepared, and then don't use your children as an excuse not to do well, but use it as motivation to do well, so you can leave a wonderful legacy behind. All right, so number 11 is that poor people don't do regular checks with their doctors. Again, interesting that they came up with this. I'm not sure what to think of this one. Do you have any suggestions? Leave a comment below and let me think, or let me know what you think as far as, do poor people not have enough medical checks, catching things in time before they become a problem and cost a lot more to take care of? I can see the point on this one. So yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on that in the comments below. Okay, I totally agree with number 12. Poor people spend money before they get it. Look, you're asking for trouble when that happens. Now, that doesn't mean that you're always going to have that opportunity to save up first, but it means it needs to be a priority to save up first before spending. If you do that as a priority, then in those moments when you don't have a choice, you're going to be okay, because you have built that habit and you know how to pay it off before debt starts caving in on you. So number 13 is that poor people surround themselves with other poor people. Now, I agree with that, because rich people surround themselves with other rich people. I heard once this saying, and I can't remember who it came from, but if you look it up, I'm sure you'll find it, that you are the sum of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. It makes sense. When we're around people who have a positive wealth mentality, it starts to trickle in. We're using psychology to build our own new belief systems. If we're constantly surrounding ourselves with people who are blaming others, not taking responsibility, who are spending before they have the money, who are worried about the latest trends and fashions or what the sports teams are up to, it becomes our lifestyle. And then it is a harder struggle to get forward. So it doesn't mean get rid of all your poor friends. It means add more successful friends to your list of friends, and choose to spend more time with those who are going to get you to where you want to get to. Still love and appreciate those around you who may bring you down, but just don't let their energy overwhelm you. So number 14 is that poor people never follow through on their ideas or potential. I have to agree with that. You need to stick with it. Now, that doesn't mean that if along the way you realize that there is a better path or that you can improve on what you're working on, absolutely go for it. But don't just think, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. Like, you got to focus and stick to something, as hard as it is. All right. Trust me, it took me like over 11 years to finally get traction, but you got to stick to it. Okay. And number 15 of the Alux.com 15 things that poor people do that rich people don't do is that poor people rely on other people to help them reach the top. why would you do that? You know, if you want success in your life, you need to grab hold of the responsibility and you need to go for it. Don't rely on other people to get you there. You know, there's such a trap you get into a job, especially if you're in the corporate world, you know, hoping that they're going to let you go up the ladder and then complaining, oh, they don't do what I need them to do, or they don't appreciate me, or they're asking too much of me. That is fine if that's what you want to think, but it's not going to help you become successful. You need to take responsibility and be along the lines of, I don't appreciate it if this person doesn't appreciate me, so I'm going to do something about it. You know, complaining without doing something about it is just asking for failure. You're never going to see success until you take responsibility and make it happen. I hope you've really enjoyed this. You've gotten a lot out of it. I want to know what your thoughts are on the 15 things that poor people do that rich people don't do. And if you agree with what Alux.com had to say, or if you don't, or if you agree or don't agree with what I had to say about them, leave me a comment below and let me know. And if you want more inspiring videos to help you and your family grow and build your financial education, your financial literacy, and live the life of your dreams, having your money work hard for you instead of always having to work hard for your money, then make sure you click subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you'll know the next time my video comes out. All right, and share this video if you found it helpful. Give it a thumbs up, and then check this video out for more great ideas to help you build your financial IQ. See you later. Bye.